Madam Wambeshi, there seems to be a seat there for you, and my instinct tells me that the decoration is not offensive to you. You could be near the colleagues and interact properly. Without taking anybody backwards, my name, Reverend Hustaf Tukwasibwe, the Commissioner for Petroleum Supply, Department in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, for some time now. This morning, as we come at this time, we should be in the middle of 6 presentations, which 6 presentations are targeted to last for 1 hour, meaning that each presentation at most is about 8 minutes, and maybe 2 minutes there in between for loading and downloading or for whatever. So I'm not going to go so much into the welcoming room or the opening and eating into the time for the gist of the matter. But let me lay this background. 1, our Constitution 1995 as amended, Article 2, is very clear on the supremacy of that Constitution. Everything that is done in this nation must abide or subscribe to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. And in that Constitution, it also puts minerals, petroleum, as being governed by the government on behalf of the citizens. And so it's under that governance that we do come to see whether or not the governance is being run properly. Where is the feedback coming from? It's like I'm having some echoes, so I don't know now. The IT people may advise. So the other part in that Constitution, and especially the preamble, there is an objective on taking services closer to the citizens that anchors decentralization, and which decentralization therefore gives powers to the local governments to be able to run the businesses in their areas of jurisdiction properly as services are taken closer to the citizens. But let me say this, that while the executive, you know the 3 arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and being headed, or the supremacy or the executive arm being given to His Excellency the President, and who remains the Commander-in-Chief. Within the local governments, there are governments, and they run all those arms of government with the RDC like a representative of the Commander-in-Chief in that area in matters of security they are concerned. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the respective capacities under which we come today, we each one have a stake in as far as fuel stations or petroleum is concerned. They are administrators at the local government level, political and civil. They are oil marketing companies. They are people that are regulators. They are concerned the citizens. They are the tax collectors. Each one of us has a stake in as far as the proper management is concerned. While we have that stake, I'm reminded of the fact that the Penal Code clearly talks about the usage of ignorance with regard to defense, in case you are caught on the other side of the law, where it says, I think it is in section 6, where it talks about the aspect of ignorance not being what? Cannot be used as the basis for defense. So this interaction may help us in one way or the other to get to know 1 or 2 things that could be critical in the way we manage our aspects. For example, and I come to close, the aspect of locating fuel stations which the program coordinator has talked about slightly. Around 2015, 2017, we had in the standards the requirement for fuel stations to be 1 kilometer apart. And the local governments said no. The central government, through the Bureau of Standards, is taking away our mandate of fiscal planning to dictate where stations should be located. And yet, we have our expertise, the fiscal planners on board, who are well versed, who are well knowledgeable, who know how to determine and to locate these stations. They urged the case and carried the day, and that requirement was removed from the standard and left as per the Fiscal Planning Act. So if we come to do a quick check, we would be able to see whether we have the lenses to see whether or not, like our colleagues, the fiscal planners, have done us good in that perspective since that time when it was removed. Can we say that the stations are well located and we can be proud of them, that actually they are as they are supposed to be? That was done in accordance with good governance, that you don't have to have one arm trying to arm twist the other, but all should be able to move together in tandem. The other aspect is that, well, after the local governments in their jurisdiction and according to their powers have approved a development plan that an oil company or an individual has presented to them intending to construct a fuel station, and they have taken their fees for approval of such a plan, then the onus now raised on that developer to apply for a construction permit in order to construct a fuel station. But quite often, you find that after the developer has gotten approval of the local authority, does not have to refer again to the center, moves on and constructs. And even after construction, maybe gets a trading license or whichever name you want to give it, and the person gets the comfort as though everything is okay. Yet, actually, that person, as far as the Petroleum Supply Act is concerned, would be operating illegally. And in the likely event of any issue, let's say fire, or adulteration, selling fuel which is not okay, or smuggling, somebody has been selling fuel which has evaded the tax, which would be unfair to the other citizens because it denies them the right to get the taxes and therefore have the services dispensed, then the cry of the citizens goes back to the center. What is government doing in this? What government to Yambi? And yet the same government, either through the local government or whatever, is actually the same that has in one way authorized such a kind of things to move. So ladies and gentlemen, our coming here, and as the coordinator has said, to fulfill that time, our desire of 18th March 2020, when we were here at that time, and now we are coming back since we have been reopened and everything seems to be okay so far. We need to interact and see how is it in Eastern Uganda. How is it? If we have to do a self-check, how is it? How is it in Butareja? How is it in Slonko? How is it in Mbale? How is it? How is it in different fuel stations, the companies, from company to company or neighbor to neighbor? How is it? How are the environmental aspects taken care of? So without further ado, it's my pleasure now to welcome you and declare this workshop officially opened so that we can be able to discuss. By the end of the business, we should have gained one or two things to help us understand properly on how we can move very well for God and my country.